The idea of transitioning to our workers, in retrospect, it was obvious, it's brilliant. It's the only thing that made sense for this company, but it wasn't obvious at first.
It felt to me like he was very strongly motivated by the mission and impact that the company that he had built was having, and was looking for an exit path that would continue that and be a steward of that.
Green River started here. It wasn't nearly as nice or as finished a basement as it is now.
We were pretty small at that point. It was, I want to say 7, 8 people.
Well, the internet was just sort of emerging in the years before Green River started, and I really recognized the power of emerging technology to try and do some good in the world. So it really started with that.
It is, at the end of the day, software. It's a technology company. We do platforms. But the idea is everything we do tries to make the world a better place.
I was always trying to make Green River the best in the world. I wanted us to always grow up and not out, and to just drive to excellence. But I also think, it was inevitable. I mean, at some point I was going to leave the company.
Michael, had always been forward thinking of what a transition plan would look like.
And we talked a lot about the different ways that the company could go, and we always rounded back to some form of employee ownership because it felt like the most Green River ethos way of progressing.
I was really surprised at the time, but the more I thought about it, the more it makes sense. It was like I chose a company to work at that was aligned with my values, and why would it surprise me that something so aligned with my values would happen? I felt really lucky, to be honest.
Folks for whom they've built a business that has a certain character to it, and they're looking to be passing on to the next generation who will kind of steward that legacy. The idea of employee ownership can be a sort of powerful tool for that kind of stewardship.
It'll be cool to think of company strategy like in line with employee ownership values. Like that'll be really interesting. I think there will be a lot of firsts this year. When you work at any company, you're trading your time for your salary. And what was really exciting about the ESOP transition was like you sort of get this opportunity of ownership. It really is like the fruits of your labor are directly returned to you.
The ESOP is a way of putting the ownership of the company in the retirement fund of its workers. And that has huge value. One, for a company as you run, you're not paying tax on your profit each year. Instead, the profit is going to the retirement funds, which are then not taxed in that year. And then the employee eventually, when they draw that money out at the end of their career and have retired, that's when they pay tax on it.
The other most common mechanism that we work with is the worker cooperative, owned by their employees directly and also governed by their employees directly. Whereas the ESOP, the governance is exercised primarily by a trustee who's tightly bound by the contours of American retirement law.
We were interested in true cooperative governance, meaning the workers had a large say in who the CEO of that company was, or where to invest their money in ways that affected their day-to-day work.
I really, really admire Michael's decision. I think that he thought about what he wanted his legacy to be, and he was like, I don't want it to just be financial. I want to give back to my community, to the community that I've built. And I really, really am inspired by that.
Green River is an interesting example that there is the space and opportunity to be creative about employee ownership.
But ultimately, what we ended up with, I think, is a really kind of magical and unique structure. So we are 100% employee owned, and we have very, very, very strong tenets of cooperative governance.
Getting to understand Green River's overall finances and how that impacts all of us as employee owners.
So we built this thing I think of as an ESOPerative, an ESOP co-op hybrid, that I hope really works well. So far so good, but we'll see.
I mean, I think we are all still learning for sure. If we look back, our goal in the beginning was really to communicate, we are now an ESOP. This is what it means for you. This is how it's going to affect your life. This is how it's going to affect the governance of the company. This is how it's going to affect the management. And then we transitioned to making sure that we had the board elections and that those were successful and covered the things that they needed to cover.
Hey everybody, Ash Otaki Sheffield. I'm the director of design here. I'm definitely very invested in how we all understand and communicate about the ESOP. And so we did an open nomination. So I ended up getting nominated for the employee liaison piece, which it really resonated with me. I have a big background in like communication, marketing, and all of that. So I was just like, okay, I can do this.
We have a lot of internal accountability because we are in many ways all in this together.
This is a really exciting time. Never in another organization, like outside of ESOP structures, are you going to get a direct payout in your retirement for your current work without sort of some sort of buy-in.
One of the perspectives of the person who's formulated it initially was that the problem with capitalism is that there's too few capitalists. In order to access credit to start a business or do all those things that generate wealth, you needed to have already existing wealth.
This model kind of turns that on its head. Instead of, at the end of the day, a few people within the company ending up with all of the wealth, you have the wealth that is generated by the company distributed amongst all of the people who helped create that wealth in the first place.
I think that ESOP structures are really for a business owner who can see impact beyond like 1 year or 2 year, right? You're like affecting change over like 20 or 30 years for the folks that are staying in your company beyond when you're participating in the leadership of that company, planting the seeds for the trees that you'll never sit under.
It's the model for capitalism to make it work. We have a problem of massive concentration of wealth. I think we have the solution to this problem. And I think that makes it incredibly important and incredibly exciting and far bigger than the story of Green River.